In the heart of ancient Rome, a city ruled by empire and power wielded with iron and fire, there lived a man whose courage would defy the darkest of fates. His name was Lawrence, a humble deacon of the early church, a devoted servant to the poor and the suffering, and a steadfast witness to a kingdom far greater than that of Caesar. This is not merely a story of martyrdom. It is the epic journey of a man who chose the light of faith over the silence of fear and love over the instinct to survive. At a time when the Roman Empire hunted the faithful with ruthless cruelty, Lawrence stood firm and unshaken. His hands were not clenched in fists of resistance, but open in generous service. He carried within him the true treasure of the church, the forgotten souls, the broken spirits, and the poor who had no voice. When the fires of persecution spread through Rome, threatening to consume all who followed Christ, Lawrence did not flee into the shadows. Instead, he moved boldly through the city's narrow streets, tending to the wounded, protecting the sacred treasures of his faith, and preparing his heart, not to escape death, but to embrace it for a cause greater than himself. And when the time of his sacrifice came, Lawrence faced the flames with a calm and quiet defiance that shook the very foundations of the empire. Even in the midst of agony, he turned to his executioners with a fearless smile and said, "Turn me over. I'm done on this side." His courage became a blazing symbol of hope and unwavering faith. In these chapters, we will follow Lawrence through the twisting alleys of Rome, into secret chambers and blazing fires, witnessing how one man's bravery ignited a flame that refuses to be extinguished. This is the story of Lawrence, the flame bearer, a fire whose light still burns bright across the ages. Chapter 1. The Early Years. In the bustling heart of ancient Rome, a city of grandeur and shadows, Lawrence was born to a humble family. From a young age, he showed a spirit unlike most, a heart full of compassion and a mind sharp with faith. Though his world was one of marble palaces and roaring crowds, Lawrence's gaze was fixed on a higher calling. As a youth, he devoted himself to the service of the church, learning the sacred duties of a deacon. He was not just a servant of rituals, but a guardian of the poor and forgotten. In a time when Christians faced suspicion and danger, Lawrence's courage grew quietly, rooted in acts of kindness and strength of character. Under the guidance of Pope Sixtus II, Lawrence was entrusted with a vital mission: to care for the church's treasures, not just gold or silver, but the community of believers and those in need. His role was dangerous, for the emperor's wrath fell heavy upon Christians, yet Lawrence faced it without fear. He moved through the narrow streets of Rome, tending to the sick, comforting the outcast, and offering hope where there was despair. His compassion became his shield, his faith his sword. Though young, Lawrence's spirit burned bright. He was a beacon in dark times, a servant of God who believed that true power came not from wealth or armies, but from love and sacrifice. This was the beginning of a journey that would lead him to stand boldly before emperors, to face fire itself, and to leave a legacy that would inspire the world for centuries to come. Chapter 2. The Treasure of the Church. After Pope Sixtus II was taken and executed by the imperial soldiers, the city of Rome grew colder, filled with fear and suspicion. The prefect, eager to crush the Christian spirit, ordered Lawrence to reveal the church's hidden treasures. "Bring me all your riches at once," he demanded, confident that the Christians' wealth would soon be his. Lawrence accepted the challenge, but asked for 3 days to gather the treasures. The prefect agreed, expecting gold, silver, and precious jewels, wealth that could rival the emperor's own. Instead, Lawrence moved through the city, not to collect gold, but to gather the true treasures of the church. Blind men who could not see the world, but had faith that lit their souls. Crippled children whose steps were slow, but whose hearts were brave. The sick, the hungry, the poor, the forgotten, and the broken. On the 3rd day, Lawrence returned to the prefect, leading a line of these humble souls. "These," he said, "are the treasures of the church." The prefect's face burned with rage. To him, this was mockery. To Lawrence, it was truth revealed. The prefect sentenced him to die by fire, to be roasted alive on a gridiron, a punishment cruel and slow. Bound to the iron grill above glowing coals, Lawrence did not scream or plead. Instead, he endured the flames with calm and courage. Then, as the heat grew unbearable, he spoke with quiet defiance. "Turn me over. I am done on this side." His words shocked everyone present. Here was a man who faced death with humor and peace, who refused to be broken by pain. His courage showed the world that the Church's true riches are found in love, mercy, and the care of those society forgets. Chapter 3. The Martyr's Victory. The fire had taken his body, but not his legacy. News of Lawrence's death spread swiftly across Rome. He had not wept, not begged, not broken. He had smiled in the fire. For the persecuted Church, his death was not a defeat, but a sign of triumph. His courage lit something deep in the hearts of the faithful. Rome tried to silence the story. Officials forbade his name, but they couldn't stop the memory. The people whispered of the deacon who turned martyr, of the man who declared the poor to be the Church's treasure. His final words passed from home to home, from prayer to prayer. A simple tomb was made along the Via Tiburtina. The faithful came in secret, laying hands on the stone, praying not for riches, but for strength. And soon, miracles began. A blind woman left the tomb with her sight. A crippled boy stood and walked. Hearts long weighed down by sorrow found peace in his presence. Lawrence, even in death, was healing. The Church recognized what the people already knew. He was a martyr touched by heaven. His tomb became a shrine, and eventually, a basilica rose above it, San Lorenzo fuori la Mura. His name entered the liturgy, his feast was celebrated, and his story crossed the borders of empire. The prefect had tried to crush the Church by killing one of its servants. Instead, he gave a hero. Lawrence had not fought with weapons. He had offered his life in peace and truth. And through that offering, he won a victory greater than any crown. Chapter 4. The Flame That Endures. Though centuries have passed since Lawrence's death, his flame continues to burn brightly, an eternal light in the heart of the Church and beyond. His name is honored across continents, his story told in countless languages. On August 10th, the feast of St. Lawrence, faithful gather in churches worldwide to remember the young deacon who faced the fire without fear. In Rome, San Lorenzo fuori la Mura stands as a sacred monument, built over his tomb along the ancient Via Tiburtina. Pilgrims journey there not to mourn a fallen man, but to draw strength from his example. They touch the stones, whisper prayers, and seek the courage to live with the same fearless love. Lawrence's legacy extends far beyond his martyrdom. He became the patron saint of the poor, recognizing his lifelong devotion to those in need. He is also the patron of cooks, who honor his final moments on the gridiron. Librarians and archivists remember him as a guardian of knowledge and sacred treasures. Even comedians find inspiration in his boldness and spirit. His life teaches a powerful lesson. True strength does not come from weapons or gold, but from compassion and self-sacrifice. The Church's treasure is not locked away in vaults, but lives in the hearts of those who serve others. St. Lawrence's flame is more than memory. It is a guiding light, a fire that refuses to be extinguished by time or tyranny. It shines as a symbol of hope, courage, and love in a world often darkened by fear. St. Lawrence's story is one of unwavering faith, fearless courage, and boundless love. Though centuries have passed, his example continues to inspire those who face hardship with hope and strength. His flame, once lit on a Roman gridiron, still burns brightly in the hearts of many. Thank you for joining us on this journey through his life. We appreciate your time and support. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories from history and faith.